throughout 90 minutes. Beckerman sizzles through into the net. Into the net. Beckerman has given RSL their second. Drives in. Ricketts changed his mind. Off the post and in. What a terrific goal. That's the goal of the week.
Hello everyone, welcome back to RSL Ranks. I'm really feeling well today. Recording this the day after RSL's 2-1 victory over the Philadelphia Union in Philly. So it was a great win for us, and I'm super pumped about it. So this is where I would put the 3 takeaways that I have from that game, but I actually have a few more than 3 that I really want to say and get out there. So I've got 5 takeaways this time. And let's jump right into it, starting with number 5. I think this game, we really showed off how fluid we are with switching positions in the attack. I mean, particularly with Chicho, he's always dropping deep to play that number 10 role. You got Crooks going to strikers. Sometimes Chicho was going out wide. Barajas was tucking in. Gomez was playing striker. Like, great fluidity, and it's really confusing Philadelphia. And what that does is you're marking someone, you're man marking someone, and he moves to a totally opposite part of the field. You want to follow him because, he's moving to a new position. That creates so much space, which it really worked out well for us in this game. And it was something that I just really love to see, and I was really excited about. One more thing I would like to note is Glad and Vera. They're studs back there. They've been excellent this season. Blocking, tackling, positioning, clearing, distribution, everything. They're just incredible all around as center backs. That partnership has really blossomed, and I have no concerns with either of them. I know, Glad had a bit of a shaky season last season. This season, he's been incredible. Vera, some people think he's a left back. I think he could probably play left back pretty well, but he's fine at center back. I'm super happy to play him at center back. So it worked out really well. Glad they're both healthy, finally. That was a bit scary last week and once again this week, but no worries. They were healthy, so that was great. One more thing, one of my 5 takeaways. Please, everyone, be patient with Crooks. I know he hasn't had the best start, but he's a new player coming to a new team in a new league, and we've seen time and time again in MLS that it is so hard to adjust to the league. And I'm sure this is the same thing that's going on with Crooks. Just think about Gomez last season. He did not have that final touch. You could see the potential, but that final pass or the final, decision making wasn't quite there. And this season, he's really turned it on. He's having a great season so far. Matt Crooks, coming from a new team, a new league. I know he's a bit older and more experienced, but still, he deserves time. And you can see that he's popping up in great spots. So I think it'll come for Matt Crooks. Obviously, this was probably his worst performance so far this season, which is disappointing from your DP. But I think he's going to be one of our best players. Okay, just everybody be patient. Let's help him grow and help him adjust. All right, here's another takeaway. Alex Catranas scored an absolute banger. He's one of my new favorite players, 100%. Just the fire, the energy, the passion that he shows already, even just being a new player. I mean, he's great. As a player, he's really good. He's an upgrade at that left back spot, and I'm really glad we have him as a player. But even just he, as a person, you can see his drive, and he really buys into Pablo's mentality that he's kind of building. You saw him shush the Philadelphia crowd after that goal. I loved that. I love that type of thing, especially when, players who have that little bite, but they don't go over the top with it. And I think Catranas is a really good example. We have a couple players who have that bite. We've got Vera. We got Ruiz. I don't know. Maybe sometimes some of them go a little bit over the top with it. I think Catranas is a really good balance. So loving Catranas. He's been the signing of the season so far. All right, now my number 1 takeaway, this is just kind of my overall thoughts just watching the game. It was a pretty horrible game of soccer. I'm going to say it was very sloppy. But this was an X-Dog performance. We still have that X-Dog, and we can still grind out results we're showing in this game. We've done this before in seasons past. This is really the first game this season that's sort of felt like this X-Dog mentality. And I think we have a great mix of the X-Dog that we had before, as well as the new tactical style, and we're really good at combining those two to produce results, and it feels like we've struck the right balance. So really, really happy with the X Dog in this one, and with the new tactical shift. I've been super, super happy with that. So I mean, Pablo, you're doing well, man. Yeah, we're definitely glad to have him as our head coach. He's been doing great. All right, well, that wraps up my thoughts from the game. Now let's get into the actual ranking, the meat of the show. So, what we're doing today, we are ranking single season performances. So, just one season. So, it would just be like, for example, let's say it was like Javier Morales 2011. That's one season, just how we did that entire season. So I've got a top 10. I did a top 10, but I've got a big list of honorable mentions that I'm going to go through. I guess kind of what inspired me to do this was I'm like, whoa, Chicho, he's having quite the season so far. He's got 8 goals and 7 assists in 10 appearances. That's ridiculous. Could he have the best single season in RSL history? Obviously, an MVP candidate, Golden Boot candidate as well. So he's doing really, really well. And it's just kind of fun to take a look back at like single season performances and be like, oh yeah, that guy's a baller. So let's get into the honorable mentions. I've got Robbie Findlay in 2009, 12 goals and 4 assists. Fabian Espindola, 2012, 9 goals and 7 assists. Nat Borchers, 2010. Remember, that defense was so, so solid. We only conceded 20 goals that season, which is tied for best in the whole league. Nick Romando, 2011. He had 13 clean sheets, sorry. And then also in 2014, he was excellent that season. He saved 4 out of his 5 PKs. Then Savarino in 2018, 7 goals and 11 assists. That was a really, really solid season. Plata in 2014, 13 goals and 6 assists. Javier Morales, 2013, 8 goals and 10 assists. Didn't quite make the cut. As well as Javier Morales, 2015, 8 goals and 12 assists. Damir Kreilach, 2018. This one I feel like flew a little bit under the radar. 12 goals and 8 assists for Damir Kreilach. He was also playing defensive mid a lot of that season. We've also got Albert Rusnak, 2017. This was his first year for the club. 7 goals and 14 assists. Really, really solid. And then Kyle Beckerman, 2012. He was all over the place that season. 4 goals, 4 assists. So those are some of the honorable mentions. Some of them were pretty close to making this list. It's a stacked list. I'll just tell you that. This gave me a lot of trouble trying to rank these. It was maybe the most difficult ranking I've done. It was so hard. So I hope you guys are excited for it. I'm really, really excited. We got a 1 through 10. We'll start with number 10, and this is where I have Joao Plata in 2016. He had 9 goals and 12 assists. This one also kind of flew under the radar a little bit. I was just kind of looking back at single season performances, and I saw this one. I was like, oh yeah, he was way good in 2016. So Joao Plata, I feel like he's a player that's also sort of underrated in the hearts and minds of RSL fans. 9 goals and 12 assists. So, I mean, that's 21 goal contributions. You'll see as we get through this list, like, basically to be in this list, you have to have 20 plus goal contributions or not be an attacker. So Joao Plata, incredible season in 2016. It wasn't the most successful season in RSL history, but he was a real bright spot that season. I think that was also the one with Yeromov Sisian and Barreto Martinez in the attack. That was a fun attack to watch for sure. All right, now number 9. This was also another under the radar season for me. It's Albert Rusnak in 2021. He had 11 goals and 11 assists, which that was actually pretty mind-blowing to me. Because 2021, I think Damir Kreilach, that was his season. He was so good that season. I think Aaron Herrera as well with the assist to Damir Kreilach. But Rusnak had 11 goals, 11 assists. So, I mean, he was our captain, and it sort of felt like he was he didn't feel like our leader, because obviously Kreilach, he's like more vocal than Rusnak. But Rusnak, solid season from him in 2021. He had a couple of them that were on the list. Obviously, he had one in the honorable mentions. Albert Rusnak, yeah, that's an under-the-radar season for me right there. All right, now in number 8 spot, I hope this one isn't too contentious. Javier Morales, 2008. This was his first season, I believe. 6 goals, 15 assists. 15 assists is ridiculous, by the way. That's a ton of assists. He does have one more season that's going to be later on in this list. But Javier Morales, just as a player, it sort of felt like he was really, really good just throughout his career. Just steady, like close to, it was something like at least 5 goals, at least 10 assists every season. And he was really, really good at that. He was consistent. And with a lot of RSL's legends, you'll kind of notice a theme with that. It's hard to pick one season to really put on this list. But 2008, he was really really solid back then. So Javier Morales 2008, 6 goals, 15 assists. That's at number 8. All right, now the number 7 spot. I've gone with Jamison Olave 2010 here. 20 goals allowed from the whole team. So that's top ever, like I already said with the Nat Borges one. He scored 3 goals and he had 27 appearances. So he was a vital part of our back line. And Olave, this was Olave's peak right here. Like our defense was so good, and Olave was the anchor man in the back line. Just an incredible player. Lots of red cards, which wasn't quite as fun as some of the other things that he did. But incredible player for us. He's borderline Mount Rushmore for me. Best defender of all time? Yeah, probably. Maybe Justin Glad will pass him eventually, but he's probably our best defender of all time. All right. I hope this one isn't too contentious. Number 6, Javier Morales, 2014. 8 goals, 12 assists. Now, this is as high as Javier Morales gets, which it does make me kind of sad because I love Javi Mo. He's great. But there's no single season for him for me to really like put up there. This one was really, really in close contention with 5th, 4th, and 3rd. I was having a really hard time deciding between those, but ultimately he ended up in 6th. 8 goals and 12 assists is really, really incredible, though. 2014, Javier Morales was so good. The best player on the team, I feel like, in 2014. And, I mean, this was the tail end of when RSL was really, really good. So it's kind of a shame that he didn't have this season like 1 or 2 years earlier, although he was incredible. But yeah, 2014, this was pretty soon before he left, and it was just a really, really solid season from Javier Morales. All right, now number 5. This is this player's only inclusion on this list. It's Kyle Beckerman, 2011. He ended up with 3 goals and 9 assists, which is actually really, really impressive for a defensive midfielder. But this might be the best season in RSL history, like when we were playing our best. And Beckerman, of course, was a massive part of that. Best defensive midfielder in the league. He was just all over the place that season. So good. He's also another one of those players where there's no obvious season to really put in first, but I've gone with 2011 just because we were so good back then and he was our anchor man. So Kyle Beckerman in 5th. I think this one's pretty fair. Let me know what you think of it, though. All right, now in 4th spot, I have Nick Rimando in 2010. Now, let me read off these stats for you because it was pretty impressive. He had 14 clean sheets that season. Really, really impressive. An 81% save percentage, which that's really good. 20 goals allowed. This is the incredible defending season where we only had 20 goals allowed. We almost won the Supporter Shield. We were only off by 1 point. And yeah, I mean, Rimando was obviously a huge factor in only having 12 goals allowed. I put Olave in 7th, but Rimando was in 4th because he was just that much more of a factor. And Nick Rimando, I wish there was like there's same thing with him. There's no obvious season to put higher in this list. He was just so steady and so good throughout his RSL career. Such an incredible player. In my opinion, the greatest RSL player of all time. Nick Rimando 2010, he was unreal. All right, now we're into the top 3. I mean, something interesting to note about this top 3 is it's not like obvious Mount Rushmore RSL players, Beckerman, Rimando, Javier Morales. None of them are in this top 3. So in 3rd, I have Alvaro Saborio. Now, he is one of our best players of all time, of course, in 2012. So Alvaro Saborio, 2012, 17 goals and 3 assists. 17 goals. We haven't had many players who've scored 17. Actually, wait. Yeah, no. He's the only player who scored 17 goals. It's the most in a single season. Hopefully Chicho can break that. That would be really, really cool. But Saborio, 2012, 70 goals, 3 assists. It's so good. 20 goal contributions. I mean, what a player. This was the standout season for him. I don't know. I don't quite remember if he won Golden Boot or how close he was. I'm sure he didn't win it, but he was in contention for sure. Really, really incredible season from Saborio. And yeah, he was one of the best strikers the best striker we've ever had. So good, Saborio. All right, we are into the top 2. In 2nd, I have Damir Kreilach 2021, 16 goals, 9 assists. What a season from Damir Kreilach. It was so good. I mean, him and Aaron Herrera. I just remember that so vividly. And he was so important to our team. Like, imagine where our team would be in 2021 if we didn't have Demir. That would be that would just be why like we would be wooden spoon contention. But this season, this was the Demiracle last day of the season. We made it into the playoffs. Incredible playoff run as well. Lots of late goals. And yeah, this was just I mean, he has a clear standout season. Some of the players below, I was saying like there's no obvious one, but Demir Krar like 2021. That was so much fun to have a player that good. I just wish it came at a time where the team was a bit better. All right, now the number one spot. Some of you may know this one, some of you may not. This is an OG season. Jeff Cunningham, 2006, 16 goals, 11 assists, which that is just ridiculous. 27 goal contributions is insane. This season was just so wild for Jeff Cunningham to have because the team was awful. Like this season, we were second to last, I want to say. And Jeff Cunningham put the team on his back. 16 goals on a horrible team. It just felt like every single time he shot, he just scored so much faster than everyone else. He scored so many goals. Yeah, Jeff Cunningham, incredible player for RSL. Definitely a season that doesn't get talked about too much because of how good the team was. But this was special from him. And yeah, once again with this one, it's a shame it didn't come at a time when the team around him was a lot better. All right, now I've got something a little bit different here. It's a third segment to the episode. This isn't like a permanent thing, but it was just an idea that I got that sounded pretty fun and kind of cool and helpful to RSL fans. So this is a stadium guide, just pretty much all of my tips for going to the stadium for an RSL game or Utah Royals game. And these are the best tips. So things like where to park, what food to get, where to sit, how to get tickets, and when to show up. Things like that. So I'm going to quickly run through this. Parking. I wouldn't recommend buying a parking pass unless maybe you're a season ticket member, but those are a little pricey. My favorite place to park is the Megaplex Theaters at Jordan Commons. It's only $10, which is about the cheapest you'll get for parking. And it's just right by the stadium. It's just across from the street. You can just kind of walk through their little backyard and across the street to the stadium. So it's right there. It's pretty cheap. It's really easy. And don't tell too many people about it because it's my spot. But yeah, it's actually a really, really great spot. All right, now for food, I would definitely not recommend getting the food inside the stadium. It's obviously very, very expensive. Most people know this, but stadium food gets really, really expensive. So I wouldn't get something inside the stadium. But around the stadium, Shake Shack, the schoolyard location, is pretty close to the stadium, and I really like Shake Shack. It's a fun spot. You can also find lots of RSL fans at Beer Bar. It's near the stadium. And then for like away games, if you want to eat food and enjoy yourself, you can go to Kaye, which is a great hangout spot for RSL fans. There's like some indoor soccer, and it's just you'll meet lots of really, really cool people there. So make sure to go to Kaye if it's an away game. All right, now where to sit? Where to sit definitely depends on what type of experience you want. The supporters section is a blast. It's super, super fun, and it's the cheapest option. It's usually only around like $20. It's really, really cheap. But it is very loud sometimes, and it can be hard to watch the actual game. You definitely don't want to bring kids into the supporters section. So I like the supporters section. I think it's a lot of fun, but if I'm going into the supporters section, then I'm going to want to watch the game when I get home again because it's hard to actually analyze the game. But it's a vibe. It's so much fun. Supporter section, I would recommend it. Besides that, if you're looking for like a family section, section 25 and just that corner in general, they've got like a family section over there, which works really, really well if you have kids. No drinking in those sections, so that's nice. And then section 5 is pretty cheap, and it's not a bad view of the game. I usually go for section 5 or some of the seats around section 5. Don't sit on the upper level. The upper level is just like it's not the same experience as the lower inner level. And otherwise, besides that, just get as close to midfield as you can that's still in your price range. Like me personally, I'm always trying to look for cheap tickets because I don't have season tickets. I wish I did, but I don't. So I'm just trying to, when I go to the games, I'm trying to get a good deal on a ticket as close to midfield as possible. How to get tickets. To buy tickets directly from RSL, SeatGeek is the only option. There's also basically no resale tickets unless you find someone on Twitter who's willing to sell their tickets. But one really, really cool thing with the tickets is Hayden Nielsen from Royal Riot. He does ticket redistribution, and then they also do it for Royals games, where basically if you have extra tickets that you can't use, you DM him or the Royal Riot account, and you let them know that you can't use those tickets. And then if you need tickets, you can also DM them, and they'll try to find tickets for you. And it works really, really well. It's just a great way to get fans in the stadium that wouldn't otherwise be there. So make sure to hit him up if you have extra tickets or if you're looking for tickets. All right, now in terms of when to show up, me personally, I like to be to the stadium 20 minutes before kickoff, but I wouldn't cut it close. You want to allow time because lines rarely, but still can take a long time for security and tickets. The plaza outside the stadium is actually a lot of fun. You might want to spend some time there. I've met a couple former RSL players there, which is really, really cool. Also, just you may want to shop at the team store if you're looking for something to buy. That's definitely a popular spot. But if you can, I would recommend going to the team store on a day when they're not playing, because then the lines won't be quite as bad. And then also just like walking around the stadium is like in the stadium, but around it is really, really cool. There's lots of cool murals and decorations there. I love looking at that stuff, so I definitely recommend that. They do a really, really great job. They've been doing a really great job the past couple of years putting up really cool looking murals. All right, and then the last little tip that I have for the stadium guide is if you live like really close or somewhat close to the stadium, there is public transit that you can use that's never busy because nobody uses it. But then you won't need to find parking, which is pretty nice. I don't live very close to the stadium, so I can't really use that. But I know it's a pretty decent option, pretty cheap, and yeah, you won't have to pay for parking, which is really, really nice. Plus, you won't have to get out of the stadium while everyone else is trying to leave. All right, well, that just about wraps up this episode of RSO Ranks. Thank you, everyone, for watching this episode. You can catch RSL this Saturday against Sporting Kansas City at home. If you can go to the game, make sure you go. If you can't, just make sure to support RSL the best way that you can. And I will see you all next time.